Good morning. Happy Saturday morning. To be honest with you, I don't even know what time it is. I'm assuming that it's still morning. I hope it is. I've been out here for a while. I'm painting, and I thought that I would come on and share another paint technique with you. I actually have a few projects going here at once. I have a kitchen table that I am painting the bottom of. So this is turned upside down. I painted the legs, which are now dry. And I am doing this adorable little side table. I got this at a thrift store for $5. It's old too, and it's very heavy. It's sturdy, it's well made. I'm still doing pieces for my daughter's apartment. As you can see, I have both of these pieces painted the same color, which is like a charcoal gray. Her apartment is, the kitchen and the living room is one room. And of course she wants everything gray. And when you're doing the same color over and over again, you don't want them to be the same exact paint technique and same color. Nothing stands out then, and it sort of just looks blah. So when you're using the same color, you want to go for different textures. If you saw my live a while ago that I did her coffee table and end table, I was going for a weathered wood look. So I used multiple colors, gray, black, brown, white, and put it on to look like planks of wood. So it wasn't a solid color gray, even though I used this color in it. Those came out really cool. Go back and check that out if you're interested in that technique. On this kitchen table, I actually sanded down the top, which was in really bad condition. This was actually a roadside find. I love being on the hunt for new furniture pieces, whether I'm thrifting, estate selling, on the side of the road, or people are giving me pieces. I love to refinish them. So this table was in sad shape. I sanded the top down and I stained it in a gray. So it allowed you to see the wood grain through it. Again, staying in the grains, but a different texture. Looks really cool. I'll show you this project when it's done. But the legs I have painted this same charcoal, and I'm going to dry brush over this and sand it down a bit to give it a really distressed look. Let me know if you're interested in seeing that technique. But on this little table, this is going to go next to a side chair. I'm going to share that project too. I got two great slipper chairs. They're both gray. Again, I'm actually going to reupholster one, so that'll be a fun project too. But it's a low armless chair, in case you don't know what a slipper chair is, and this table was perfect to go on side that. It was, I'll post a picture of what it looked like first. It was in god-awful green color and paint chipping, and so I said, okay, let's give this a makeover. I'm going to do a crackle finish today. I haven't done this in forever, and this could very likely be a fail. You never know. But it's only paint. You can sand it down, take it off, paint it again, so I'm going to try it. I did the charcoal gray in this. It has the base coat, which is dry. I'm going to use Mod Podge. There are many different ways that you can get a crackle finish. You could use just white Elmer's glue, which I didn't have. I happen to have Mod Podge, so I'm going to use Mod Podge. And I'm going to paint white over it so that when the white paint crackles, this gray is going to show through and give it a really cool texture. It's going to look distressed and old, but I like that you're going to be able to see both colors. So the process for this is to put the Mod Podge on, then paint white over it while it's still wet, and hit it with a blow dryer or a heat gun. I have my cute little pink blow dryer here that I love. And you want to work in small sections. So I'm going to put the Mod Podge down. I'm going to put the white paint over it while it's wet, then start blow drying it to heat it up. And as the Mod Podge dries under the paint, it's going to give that crackle effect. I'm going to do little sections at a time. You have to do small sections. So let's see how this works. Again, could be a major fail, or it may work out. Let's see. So again, I didn't have glue. There's so many different ways that you can get a crackle finish. I even saw it with hairspray. You can spray the hairspray, then put the wet paint over it. Okay, I'm only gonna do that little bit. You can see, well, it's still wet. Then I'm gonna take the white paint. Hopefully this works. I'm gonna paint over this while the Mod Podge is wet. That's the key. The Mod Podge needs to be wet. It's gonna get noisy because I need to put the hairdryer on. I wasn't so sure. I know you're supposed to work in small areas, but we'll see how this works. So you can watch it in real time. Let's see. Yep, it's starting to crackle. And as you're painting it on and doing each section, you want to make sure that your brush strokes go in the same direction. You wouldn't want to go this way here and then that way there. You want them all to go the same way so it looks like it's naturally cracked. And again, with that light color on top, once it starts to crackle, you see that gray come through. And I think, I'm not even sure to be honest with you, to determine the size of the cracks would be how much Mod Podge you put on there. I didn't put a thick coat, but the cracks are starting to come, and I think it's going to be hard for you to see. I'm going to try the next section going a little bit heavier with the Mod Podge to see if we get bigger cracks. I really haven't tried this in years. This was a spur of the moment thing. I kept saying, I'm painting the same color, how can I go for a different texture? And I said, ooh, I could do a crackle finish. And I didn't try it first. So as I said, it could be a major fail. It's definitely crackling. Let me see, this time I'm gonna put on a thicker layer of Mod Podge, and I'm going right next to where I left off before, and I'm going to go same direction with my brush strokes, going vertical, and this is definitely a heavier. I can't see comments very well if there are any, so I will go back and look at those, I promise. You can let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so that was a thick coat. I'm going to go on top of it now. While it's still wet, with wet paint. Oh, I have something in the paint. That's not good. I'm going to put a generous amount of paint on too. And see if this affects the size of the cracks. Okay. Back on. With the blow dryer, and let's see how this works. Yep, I went thicker this time. I could see instantly that the cracks are bigger, so that is the key. And I definitely wanted bigger cracks because I want to be able to see that gray coming through. I went with a generous amount of paint too. I think I went too light over there. You can see the difference. So I'm just going to go back over that first spot. How cool is that? Like right before your eyes, it just starts to crackle. I love it. This chair that I have that it's going to go next to was an awesome find. I found 2 gray slipper chairs. They were a pair for $20. I said when I get every little project done for her, I'm actually going to do a live showing all the projects that we did with mentioning what we paid for them. Because how cool to find different techniques and changing things up or furnishing a space on a budget, a very tight budget. Can you see the cracks in that? Very cool. Now, I'm going to go back over this just to see if this works. I could be the guinea pig for anybody else who is doing this. I went too light the first time. So, heavier coat of Mod Podge. And again, you could do this with just white Elmer's glue. I just didn't have any, which is why I'm using the Mod Podge. And a generous coat of paint. While the Mod Podge is still wet. I went right next to where I left off, and let's see if the cracks come bigger. Yep, they're definitely coming bigger. That was the key. So put a generous amount. You know, depending upon the project, you may not want the cracks to be so prominent. You may want them to be more subtle. So that means that you put a lighter layer of either the glue or the Mod Podge or whatever you're using. Definitely shows the cracks more. If you had a heat gun, you could use a heat gun too. I don't have a heat gun. So I just use my little blow dryer. And what it does is as the Mod Podge underneath or the glue starts to dry, it makes the paint crack. Alright, I'm going to go on to the next section. I'm going to keep going till I finish, and I am going to do this entire table, but for now I'm just doing the top, and I'll have to wait till it's completely dry to turn it over to do the legs. And again, a generous amount. This is so cool. You get your paint while the Mod Podge is still wet. Put a layer of paint on. Go right up against where you left off. And let's see how this comes. I think that's Marianne that's saying hello. The camera's far away from me. I really can't see. As I said, if there's comments, I'm going to go back and respond to all of them. Look, and you can see how I put the heat on it and it starts to crackle right away. You see how you can see the gray through it? Adds a really cool texture. This would be great to do on signs for any of these sign makers, or any, you could do this on flower pots, wood boxes, anything. See, now this original spot is not showing because I did 2 layers of paint. But it's okay, this doesn't need to be perfect. Obviously this is a technique and a finish that is not meant to be perfect. It's done to look like worn out, chipped wood. How cool is that? I love that that color is showing through. All right, I'm going to go on to the next area. I'm putting the Mod Podge on very generously. And I'm working in small sections. I'm overlapping what I did before so I don't have any bare spot. And then going right over it with, while it's still wet, with paint. And then hit it with the heat. And right before your eyes, you can see it crackle. I'm hoping that you can see that from this angle. Yep. The thicker the layer of Mod Podge, the bigger the cracks come. I'm trying to think of other projects that this can be done on. I have an old, it's a wood decorative piece that's made to look like a water pump. You know, those old-fashioned water pumps out of a well. I don't know how many years that thing has been sitting around, but I'm thinking that this would be a great paint technique for that. And then put florals on it. It would be a great decor item for the deck, the front porch. You could do flower pots in this, all different colors. Hey Julia, how are you? I'm doing another paint technique today. Loving this crackle finish. And for any of you that are afraid to paint, this is a great technique because, again, there's nothing perfect about this. It's made to be imperfect, actually. The more imperfect, the better. The only trick is that you need to work in sections. So, and I'm using the Mod Podge for anybody who just jumped on, but you can use just plain old white Elmer's glue. Then you go over it with your paint. And I'm doing this with the light color over the dark color. You could do this the opposite way too. You could do the light color underneath and the dark on top. Can't see on that side. Then once you got the paint on, you hit it with the heat. And then right before your eyes, it's like magic. Starts to crackle. So cool. This is a great project to do with kids too. I think that they'd like this. And again, you can see that nothing is perfect about this, but that's the whole idea. It could be imperfectly perfect. It is another thrifting. I got this table for $5. I got it at a thrift store. It's old. It almost looks like it's handmade. Although I don't know. And it's very heavy. It's a sturdy little table. And I got it to go next to a slipper chair that I found. This is another item for my daughter's apartment. Which, and if you could see, I have the kitchen table that is upside down here. I finished the top of it and I'm just doing the legs now. All right, I'm gonna do one more section of the top and then this should be done. For the top anyway. Then once I know that it's completely dry, I will turn it over and I will do the legs and the sides. Could have probably been doing the sides now. I was concentrating on the top. Again, a generous amount of Mod Podge. And then a generous amount of paint right on top of the wet Mod Podge. And then just hit it with the heat. Crackles right before your eyes. I should start doing a weekly thrift live because I do go at least once a week to see what they have. I'm working on another, I'm always on the hunt for doing my heaven chairs. That's the third project I have going here. And chairs are not always easy to find. And of course they're all unique, different ones that I find. But I do go to a thrift store at least once a week. But it would be fun. As a matter of fact, the one that I go to over here has really terrible service. I've tried to go live in there a couple of times, but I can never get a good connection. It's kind of like working in my shop downstairs. See how the cracks just come? And again, very imperfect, but I got the colors going. Everything we're doing is gray and white, so not to make it look boring or not to make a piece stand out on its own. I'm going for different textures. This kitchen table that I'm doing, I'm going to dry brush the legs white. So that's just a dry brushing is one of the simplest techniques. And then I'm going to sand it a bit to make the legs look distressed, but I stained the top of it. It's stained and sealed already, so that's all finished. And the staining was kind of cool. A different thing than doing paint, because I sanded the top, and when I stained it, then you can see the wood grain through it. There we go. This is all done. I love this. Very rustic, farmhousey. Very cool. Again, I hope that you can see the cracks in there. Bye, Julia. Thanks for jumping on. All right. I think that's it. How cool is that? Well, again, I didn't know if this was going to work, so I'm kind of cool that I'm kind of glad that I tried it because it came out cool. I wouldn't trust it to be 100% dry yet, but once I am sure of that, I'm going to flip it over, and that's when I'll do the legs and I'll do the sides, so the whole piece will be done in this same texture. And I'll probably put a clear coat over it, just because it's a tabletop, so anything that you want to put on it that paint doesn't chip or it doesn't scratch. Very cool. So I hope that you enjoyed that. I love sharing different techniques. Let me know what you would do this technique on. It could be done on a million things. That watering can, not watering can, I think it's supposed to look like a water pump. Remember the old-fashioned water pumps? I got this out of my mother-in-law's garage when we were cleaning out their house. It's so dirty and yucky, but I'm thinking once I clean this up, I'd love to repaint it, and maybe I'll do a crackle finish on it. It's meant to look old, and then I'll do some florals on it. This would be great on the back deck or the porch. Never know. I always have more projects lined up, and I still have these here. I don't know if you saw when I posted these. I'm looking to do a great project with these, but I still need another element that I am on the hunt for. So once I find that, I'll come on and do this project with you too. Lots of fun projects coming up. Anyway, I'm going to get back to my painting. Thank you for hopping on and saying hello. I wish you all a happy Saturday and have a great weekend. Again, let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer them. And for any of the comments here, I will go back and look at them. The camera's just too far away from me. I can't see. So, have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Oh, there goes my blow dryer.